My name is Samantha Newport and I am the Communications Advisor to the Post-Conflict and Disaster Management Branch at the United Nations Environment Programme in Geneva. I'm 40 years old, I live in France and I work every day in Geneva with multiple missions across the globe. At university, I studied French, Spanish and Business Studies at the University of Wales in Swansea. Prior to that, I completed my high school in France. I studied at the Lycée International in the outskirts of Paris. My current job at the United Nations Environment Programme involves assisting in communicating what the Post-Conflict and Disaster Management Branch does at UNEP. We are an entity of between 35 and 50 people with project offices in 8 locations, including Afghanistan, Haiti, Sudan, South Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo. My job is to produce, develop and disseminate communications products. It is to speak on behalf of the branch to the media in addition to visiting groups. And it is also to coordinate the message that the Post-Conflict and Disaster Management Branch wishes to project to the multiple countries in which it works and also internally within the UN system in general. First of all, I am passionate about the environment. I started my career working in the Amazon region of Ecuador in South America, working on forestry and ecotourism issues, and the environment is something that I very much carry in my heart. Second of all, I enjoy communicating. I enjoy working with different countries, with different cultures. I am trilingual. I speak English, French and Spanish. And so really it's several reasons that have brought me to this place, but overall it's my passion for the environment and my love of communicating in general about important environmental matters such as those in which we engage at the United Nations Environment Programme. There are many skills required for this job. First of all, you have to be a good communicator. I am the communications advisor to this branch, so you have to be able to communicate, you have to be able to write well, you have to be able to speak well, you have to be able to collaborate with colleagues, you need to be able to manage teams, you need to be able to make decisions. So there are several skills that you need to do this job. And again, you really have to love to do any job in order to do it well. You cannot do a job simply for a paycheck or simply because you think that's what you should be doing because it is a natural progression perhaps from what you studied. I think it's very important to really identify something that speaks to you, something that inspires you, something that motivates you, and then you will really be able to find the skills that you need to do the job. We need lots of skills today. You need to be very good at technology, you need to be good at networking, you need to have a very kind of collaborative approach to your work. We live in an age when we need to be communicating with people in many countries across the globe on very complex issues. But above all, you need to find a subject matter that speaks to you. And I think then, everything comes from that. There are many positive aspects to my job. First of all, I get to work with people in many countries and I get to travel to many countries. This year I have been to Haiti, Sudan, Ivory Coast twice and Germany in relation to my work. All the missions have been extremely interesting and productive and have enhanced my knowledge about the organization, which enables me to carry out my work better here in Geneva and represent the work of what my colleagues are doing here at the Post-Conflict and Disaster Management Branch. But certainly the travel is a positive aspect. Another positive aspect is that I get to work with incredibly interesting people. people who have a high level of education. They are experts in their field, whether it be environmental cooperation for peace building, disaster risk reduction, or in carrying out environmental assessments in a post-conflict or post-disaster situation. I consider myself very, very privileged to work with such expert and knowledgeable colleagues. In terms of the downsides to my job, I mean, really, I think with any job, sometimes the workload can really get quite significant. But in those cases, you really just have to learn how to prioritize and manage your time, because in every job, in every walk of life, there are going to be moments when the workload is excessive, and that is certainly the case in my situation. I would say that a recent mission in Ivory Coast was extremely interesting because it was so varied. I was leading the institutional team that is conducting an assessment of the institutions in Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire as it's known, to help the government assess the priorities in terms of reforming the institutions and the laws. This is part of a wider post-conflict environmental assessment that UNEP is conducting in Côte d'Ivoire at the request of the government. It is something that the Post-Conflict and Disaster Management Branch has completed on over 20 occasions, starting in the Balkans in the late 90s after the Kosovo conflict. But we have also completed post-conflict environmental assessments in Afghanistan, in Haiti, in Sudan, in Democratic Republic of Congo, in Rwanda, to name a few. This particular project in Côte d'Ivoire was very interesting because we engaged with the government, we engaged with civil society, we engaged with organizations working in the not-for-profit sector. It was really an incredibly interesting approach due to the level of consultation and the level of research that was required in order to come up with these concrete recommendations to assist the government of Côte d'Ivoire in establishing their priorities for restoring the environmental damage that has occurred during a decade of conflict. Geneva is an incredible hub. You know, it has so many nationalities, so many international organizations, and then a very kind of solid Swiss framework which actually allows all of this to function. I think there are not many cities that would be able to say that they are home to so many organizations and people from across the globe, and that it all seems to work. And I think that's very much thanks to the solid framework that Geneva and the Canton of Geneva is able to provide. And I think this is what makes Geneva so unique, and this is what makes people and organizations continue to want to come to Geneva and work in Geneva and have meetings in Geneva. And it's really become a very important meeting point for people in the humanitarian development and environmental communities, in addition to all the other communities such as finance, etc., with which I'm less involved. But I think it's a very significant hub, and one that will continue to be important for many, many years to come. For young people interested in working in international cooperation today, I would say, first of all, you need to do a master's. In my day, as I said, I'm 40, so 20 years ago, you didn't necessarily need to do a master's. Many people did do masters, but it wasn't crucial. Today, it's fundamental. You actually will find it very difficult to get into international cooperation if you do not have a master's degree. Second of all, I would say, you know, really study a subject and engage in a career that inspires you, that you are passionate about, that motivates you. Because if you are going to engage in a career for the rest of your life, that's a mighty long time, and you want to make sure that it's something that you enjoy. You obviously need to have a paycheck, so you need to ensure, you know, that this is a realistic career for you in terms of your financial expectations. But above all, you need to be very passionate about it. And thirdly, I would say, network. It's really very important. It's all about who you meet, and the connections that you make and the relationships that you develop that really help to develop your career on all levels, and I would say is fundamental to being successful.